Ooh, what is that?
Might have to use that in the next ad.
Smooth.
It is mid-afternoon, and I need an energy kick. So we've got the fruit crush flavour. What do you got, Darren?
I've opted for the lemonade.
Good call.
That's my favourite.
These have nothing to do with today's topic.
No, they have a whole bunch of ingredients, but not the one we're talking about today.
Well, we thought we'd get energized because the ingredient we're talking about today is not just about fat loss, but it's actually about energy as well.
It is.
And that's carnitine.
Carnitine. It's one of the ingredients most people... It's probably one of the most common ingredients that most people know about in sports supplements.
Yeah, well...
It's up there. It's not as prevalent as creatine or even
No,
protein.
but
Yeah, not to be confused with carnosine or creatine. But I just...
Carnitine, normally used in like sort of fat metabolizing products, but it's more commonly used in, pre-workouts, and it's got a myriad of benefits.
So start with a high level. Just
what is
quick
carnitine?
description. Is it one of the amino acids, Darren?
Well, actually, before we get to that, I saw some stats just before this, and carnitine is actually the third most popular bodybuilding supplement in America.
There you go. That backs up my...
By search, by consumption, by what metric?
By sales, I think, online.
Yeah, nice.
And, within our range, if you think about it, our carnitine products
We've got it in a fair few
sell
things.
pretty well. Most of our shred range contains
Carnitine, fat
form
metabolizer,
of
shred
carnitine.
matrix, pre-workout shred.
shred and burn,
and protein powder. I think
shred and burn RTD.
I think most of our shred products have carnitine in it as a staple ingredient.
So,
what is it?
Carnitine?
Well, carnitine, it's not really an amino acid, but people refer to it as an amino acid. If your body didn't produce carnitine, it would be a vitamin. In fact, they actually used to call it vitamin BT when it was first discovered.
Really?
What do you
What
mean?
would the BT stand for?
Beats me. Nah,
Is that the definition of an amino acid? It has to be produced by the body.
no, an amino acid is, it has to contain a certain chemical structure. One of those is an amine,
Okay.
and one of those is a carboxylic
And
acid.
carnitine does not.
Not exactly, no. But
Okay.
it is made from two amino acids, which is lysine and methionine, which are two, of the 20 protein amino acids.
Gotcha.
Carnitine, it is a naturally occurring compound. It's found in foods, carnitine. So
Yeah.
it's not like,
Where do you find it in food? Do you find it in red meat?
Yep.
Yep.
Other animal products?
Eggs.
Eggs, yeah.
And your body also produces a bit of carnitine itself.
Lovely. Top level, again, what does carnitine do? What is its main role or function in the body?
It's got multiple.
It does many, many things in your body.
It does it, okay.
But if you,
The main thing
Yeah.
is probably energy production and fat metabolism. They'd be the two main functions
Yeah.
related to
Fat metabolism or carb metabolism?
fat
Fat
metabolism.
metabolism.
Cool.
But energy production and fat metabolism aren't independent, right?
No.
Like they're linked. You're right. What metabolism means? Okay. Spot quiz. What does metabolism mean, Hal?
Conversion of nutrients to energy.
Oh, you're doing well. Hey, I'm impressed.
That was the simplest question
Yeah.
you could have asked.
Yeah.
well, so that's what carnitine
But
helps with,
I do
right?
have a history of botching the simplest
Yeah.
answers.
That's
so.
it. I like that you botch them.
Yeah.
This is how we all learn, right?
I'll ask again, I get it wrong.
That was very good. But yeah, exactly. Carnitine actually helps you metabolize fat. How does it do that? Helps transport fat from where it's stored into your mitochondria, where it gets burnt into energy.
The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
Correct.
Oh, Hal, have you been reading?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
I think he knocked his head and went back into high school biology
rec-
class.
I
He
rec-
probably hasn't had any alcohol in about a month, so his brain's just starting to work again.
well, that's not true. But I did recently graduate year 8 science.
That'll do it.
Yeah. So yeah. That's
So
what-
once
no-
they
no
enter this,
cheating.
once they enter the mitochondria, then they're oxidized to
That's
generate energy, ATP.
So would you describe carnitine as like a vehicle or a transporter? Like it literally just moves fat around the body.
It
Yeah.
acts as a
It doesn't,
transporter.
it doesn't
Fat.
change its state.
mobilizer. So
Mobilizer.
many years ago, if you're
It's the Uber of fat.
yeah, if you're
That I
a
can
Musashi
understand.
supplement fan, back in the day, we used to have a fat mobilizer product. It was one of the first Musashi products, and it was carnitine based. Very popular product back in the day, but mobilizer is a bit technical, and not many people understand it. So
Metabolizer.
now we have it in our fat metabolizer product.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. What else
Yeah.
does carnitine do? I've heard it has a range of functions.
Energy production, fat metabolism.
Yep.
heart
cover
health.
those.
There's some studies that suggest that it may improve cardiovascular health.
Really?
Yeah.
And if you have a deficiency in carnitine, it's going to create all kinds of problems in your body. So if you're deficient in, lysine and methionine, the two amino acids that it's made from, you'll have a carnitine deficiency. Because often it's hard to get enough carnitine from your diet altogether. So if you're, missing those three elements from your diet, you're going to have stunted growth. You're going to be super weak. You're going to have an enlarged liver and all kinds of other problems.
What's wrong with an enlarged liver? Isn't it bigger, stronger? I'm all about liver function.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know if bigger means
Like
better.
a swollen liver.
Yeah.
Bigger always means better.
Yeah.
No.
Size doesn't matter.
Yep.
What about from a recovery perspective? I know like carnitine's being more widely used in a lot of recovery products now. Is there
I've heard that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's some studies done that carnitine actually can help relieve DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. So, very, very interesting. So,
How would that work? Would that be the same role it plays in terms of, I guess, transporting nutrients? Like it would help. I imagine the way that it helps transport fat around the body, maybe it has some sort of blood movement kind of effect.
and I think there's also some relation to replenishing your glycogen stores, right? So, carnitine is actually meant to be pretty good for your liver health, and it helps your blood flow throughout your body when you're exercising. So, what happens is, during exercise, while you're metabolizing and getting energy from fat, it actually decreases your reliance on glycogen, depending on the exercise as well, of course.
Interesting.
There's some studies that show that it helps with blood sugar regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't the same as blood flow, to be correct.
No, it's the metabolism of glucose. So
Yeah.
maintaining a sort of, so you're stopping this.
Yeah.
Is that
Keeps it
does
more-
that have any effect on insulin, or is that just
Yeah.
Well,
glucose?
actually, carnitine and insulin are very closely linked, right? Especially dietary carnitine, which is the supplements that you're taking. You need to take it alongside some carbohydrates to really get the best effect. So we
Okay,
recommend
interesting.
taking most of our shred products alongside a meal. The protein ones are probably okay because
Really, with a meal, not for example, like I've been consuming the shred matrix and carnitine almost immediately before exercise, whereas consuming carbs 2 or 3 hours before.
But are you having any carbs during exercise?
No.
It's probably a better idea to have it with something that's going to trigger an insulin spike, because you know what insulin does? Insulin is about absorbing nutrients, right? So carnitine is one of those ingredients that might need help getting absorbed.
Interesting. So not before exercise. Like if I'm consuming carnitine for the purpose of energy production throughout a basketball game, for example.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that you have to do that
Yeah.
close to exercise. You could throw it in with your, your pre-exercise meal that you have a couple of hours before, and it fine.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you want it to be close to exercise, but you also, more importantly, want it to be absorbed, which may require, a little bit of carbohydrates or something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm wondering if the trade-off is like if I'm not taking carnitine as a fat metabolizer. I'm not worried about my body's ability to metabolize fat.
You're
or
looking at it
lose
from
weight.
energy production.
Entirely energy production
Yeah.
and sports performance perspective, which is why I'm taking it around exercise.
Yeah, so
So that would make sense to time it with your meal then,
Yeah. Okay.
if you're looking at it from energy production.
yeah, because the anti-fatigue effect from carnitine comes back to what we talked about at the start.
What's the anti-fatigue effect?
It's gonna
Anti-fatigue. Sorry.
so it's gonna allow you to use more fat as an energy source and be less reliant on glycogen, which gets converted to glucose, right?
But 2 or 3 hours. If I'm eating 2 or 3 hours before a game, don't you think my body is still digesting that? So even if I'm taking carnitine an hour before a game, when I've eaten an hour or two prior to that, my body is still digesting. So isn't that enough fat and carbs in my body at that point in
It
time?
really
for the
depends
carnitine
on
to impact?
how insulin sensitive you are and whether you're getting
And what you've eaten as well, the
Yeah.
types of carbs you've eaten, whether you've had protein in that meal. There's a lot of varying factors in what you're
Yeah.
saying.
so best time to have it is with carbs.
Okay, interesting. And if it's for sport or exercise before, then obviously, like it's not like creatine where
It doesn't, with creatine doesn't matter when you take it, as
Well-
long as you're taking it.
How we recommend to take it is to take 2 or 3 capsules twice a day. with a meal.
specifically the capsules, because we have
Yeah.
a powder as well,
Yeah, with the shred matrix powder, you could probably have that with a meal as well.
but we have carnitine powder as well.
true about carnitine powder. You're probably not going to have it as standalone because carnitine actually tastes like fish.
Yeah, it tastes. It tastes
So
pretty
you
gross.
generally add that to something like a protein shake.
So what would you think about having like carnitine caps or shred matrix with a meal, and then carnitine powder? If I'm hoping that there's not a maximum you can take or a super low maximum, so you're having it with the meal and then throughout exercise as well. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Just as long as you're not getting too much.
How much would be too much? Because I know that we recommend 6 caps a day, which I believe is 3 grams.
Yeah, I read here that the benefit is probably around 2 to 3 grams per maximum dose, and
Daily.
Yep. 3 grams. See, 6 caps is fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's daily.
It doesn't really have an upper limit established on safety, but
Yeah, but
I wouldn't go too much higher than
you
that.
could run. This is what you should do, really. Like on your training days, run the caps with your meal, and then on your non-training days.
I don't have non-training days.
Well, if you're doing like, I don't know, if you've got a lighter day or something, maybe just throw some of that shred matrix into your water bottle and just sip it throughout the day. It's look, timing's not always super crucial.
Yeah, that's my point. For example, it's like if you're getting as specific as the anabolic window, then timing is essential if you believe in that. Whereas creatine, I'm aware, it's as long as you take it daily. It's not as important. So I'm wondering where on that spectrum
creatine and carnitine are a bit different, right? Like creatine's about saturating your muscles. So that kind of takes a bit of time. Carnitine probably does have a little bit more of an acute effect, so that means if you take it, you might see a benefit. So
I honestly feel like I notice a benefit, and you could call it a placebo, but if I have a regular midday game every Sunday, the day that I forget my carnitine.
Can you stop banging the table?
Sorry. The day that I forget my carnitine is the day that I notice that my muscles do not function the same as they do in the fourth quarter.
I got a friend also that's doing a keto diet. Yes, that's still a thing, and he swears by using carnitine because he's obviously not having many carbs at all.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Like it's helping oxidize fat and metabolize fat, so it would make sense.
If carnitine's helping you use fat as an energy source, and fat is your primary energy source, it's obviously going to have a big effect on you, right? So, I guess, if you're having carnitine regularly for energy and it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
that's it.
100%.
Yeah, but what you're doing is working.
Everybody's different at the end of the day, and everybody has different, insulin sensitivity. And
before you move on, in terms of an upper limit for carnitine, I'm aware, I'll use creatine as an example again. 3 grams. Okay, but creatine, for example, you say 5 grams. If you take more, it's not really an issue. It's just not going to have any more improved effect.
Well, it can give you digestive issues.
Yeah, okay.
You can get some bloating and things.
You take carnitine the same
then? Most likely. I haven't experimented, and most of the side effects that I've read about
would be digestive.
It's pretty low side effects at normal dosages, but if you have a very high dosage, most of them are going to be these digestive nausea type side effects as well.
Cool.
At very high doses.
Nice.
So stick to 2 to 3 grams a day.
Will do.
So we've got energy production, fat metabolism, heart health, bit of recovery, blood sugar regulation, brain function. I see it in a lot of nootropic style products as well.
Really?
That's true, but often that's a different type of carnitine. So
that's what I wanted to touch on as well.
So there's many. You've probably heard of a lot of different types of carnitine. Is L-carnitine the same as levocarnitine? L-carnitine tartrate, carnitine.
Yeah, what's tartrate?
So carnitine is the ingredient, the molecule that we're interested in, right? It can get attached to other things, right? So it can get attached to tartaric acid, which is how you get carnitine tartrate. And the reason we do that is that so it doesn't pick up all this moisture, right? If you see pure carnitine, it becomes like a brick, and it's very, very, not friendly to scoop out of a tub and things.
I've seen a few of those wash up on my beaches recently. A few bricks.
You're living in Bondi.
Yeah,
Really dating.
So those guys that keep wrapping the carnitine in brown bags and throwing them in the ocean for people to discover, stop that.
So they attach it with a different molecule too.
Yeah, so carnitine tartrate just makes it a bit more stable, but more, taste friendly because, like I said, pure carnitine tastes like fish. And that's the form that we use in most of our products, carnitine tartrate. L-carnitine tartrate, levocarnitine tartrate, it's all the same thing.
Nice.
So as far as brain function, would it be a different source of carnitine rather than like an... Yep.
That's right. So the carnitine for brain function is acetyl L-carnitine.
Mm-hmm.
So acetyl L-carnitine means that it's got an acetyl group attached to it. So
that's the one I see in market more often. Like on other brands, it's acetyl L-carnitine.
yeah. So
Well, it depends on the type of product. Like
Like,
if you're seeing it in a pre-workout or something, it's probably there for you.
I'm seeing it like as a single ingredient product like ours.
yeah. Well, acetyl L-carnitine actually has like a nootropic effect. It can actually improve your focus because this acetyl group allows it to enter your brain, across the blood-brain barrier.
But does that mean it's less appropriate for someone who's using carnitine for that energy production and fat metabolism function?
It's going to be less efficient than other
Yeah,
forms of
yeah.
carnitine for that, but it's going to give you other benefits, right? And how it does that is, it's involved with acetylcholine, which is one of your, acetylcholine, which is one of your neurotransmitters, right? So
How does carnitine differ from choline?
they're completely different things.
Yeah, how? Tell me.
I guess choline is part of your membranes, right? So phosphatidylcholine is what makes up the fatty membrane around your cells, right? So carnitine is related to that in the fact that it allows you to transport fat into cells, but yeah, it's not really
So would you say, because
structurally.
I'm just aware the two products are used for similar purposes. Like we have choline and carnitine in our shred matrix, for example. Would you say that as the carnitine is the transporter to the cells, choline actually supports the function of the cells that metabolize fat?
Yeah, choline is pretty important for having healthy cells, having healthy cell membranes. So yeah,
Interesting. I'm just curious about how those two work together.
yeah. I guess that, there probably is a link between how they work for metabolizing fat holistically.
Yeah. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Do we want to speak just briefly on green tea extract as well? I'm pretty curious about that. That's the third, I guess, key ingredient in our shred matrix.
Yeah, I guess it's not really related to carnitine.
Sorry, but
Quite often you see formulations where those two ingredients are combined in fat metabolizing products.
So-
or African mango extract.
No, we don't talk about those illegal products.
Oh, is that illegal? I didn't realize.
Yeah. But I just came back from Africa and the mangoes are very nice. But so green tea basically has two benefits when it comes to weight loss, fat loss. So one of them is that it can help your appetite, and the other one is that it's got a little bit of caffeine.
It'll restrict your appetite.
Yeah, it can help suppress your appetite, and the other one is that it can help with a bit of thermogenesis.
Cool.
So it's got these things in there called ECCGs, which help you help increase your temperature a little bit thermogenic. So
Nice.
Helps with both calories in, calories out. So not eating as much and burning a bit more.
Nice.
Now we talked about all the fat metabolism stuff.
Yep.
But the golden rule still applies always.
Calories in, calories out.
Calories in, calories out. You can take all the carnitine in the world, but if you're having more calories than you burn, you're not going to lose weight.
Would you say the effect?
Carnitine's generally used as a bit of a booster when people are getting down, their body fat levels are getting down to sort of lower levels, and they're looking to encourage that fat metabolism even more. As the body has got less and less fat, obviously your body's not drawing upon that as much because it's recognizing, hey, we're getting pretty lean here. We need to sort of trying to hold on to any body fat that we've got to protect ourselves against illness and sickness and all that sort of stuff. So that's where these products do come in handy, when you are getting a little bit leaner as a bit of a boost.
Well, again, I use carnitine mostly for that energy production kind of function. But
I think most people aren't even aware of it for that function.
Yeah.
Like it is beneficial for sports people.
Hugely
100%.
beneficial. Yeah.
Well, would you say that if two people who are in identical calorie deficit, one was using carnitine, the other wasn't, would you say that carnitine makes that calorie deficit more efficient, for lack of a better way of putting it? Like it allows...
You might have a greater degree of fat loss. I think it's actually been studied if you're on carnitine versus if you're not or not.
Whereas alternatively, I'd say the main effect then is if you're two identical people are consuming the same amount of calories during a day, the person consuming carnitine might just have more energy because those calories are being produced more efficiently into energy to be used during exercise, assuming they're both exercising.
On paper, that
in theory, a lot of things make sense, but I think until it's
don't think
actually been
there's-
studied in
yeah.
a clinical setting, it's hard to really, draw conclusions
Well,
like that.
again, that's my experience is when it comes to
Yeah.
the fourth quarter and I'm playing basketball, if I've noticed if I've taken creatine, I'm using more
Carnitine
energy.
or creatine?
Carnitine, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like I have more energy and therefore that's more energy that I'm burning. So that would, I guess, attribute to a greater calorie deficit.
Sure.
Mate, if you've tried it on yourself and you've played games with and without it and you can feel it, then cool.
Yeah.
If it works for you, it works for you.
Can't promise it's not a placebo, but
We can't promise that about anything in life,
No.
can you?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Test it against placebo.
Yeah, true.
yeah.
placebo free.
Yeah. So many benefits to carnitine.
Yeah, that's the.
I've heard it's also got some antioxidant benefits as well. Is there much
Yeah.
evidence on that?
No, that's true. It helps your body regulate some antioxidants itself. So, good for overall health and well-being, even if you're not an athlete, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny hearing about how all these like sports specific kind of supplements can actually have a positive impact outside of sports performance.
Well, most of these were health-related ingredients prior to being sports nutrition products. Like amino acids are the building blocks of health.
Yeah.
Like they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like carnitine and
Sports
creatine
people
as well.
just, push things to the limit. And when you're
Yes.
pushing things to the limit, you might need a bit more help. A bit more help, right, from your nutrition. But, everything that we are taking as athletes is going to be beneficial for the regular person, even though if they're living a sedentary lifestyle.
The regular person. Nice.
Like something like this is great, like for
Yeah.
liver function and all that. Is,
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
yeah.
If you think about it, an athlete's just you perform your best when you're healthy, right? So you're just trying to be mega healthy.
We're just like normal people, but better.
Yeah.
And with that, do you have a Musashi
At
quote?
Globo Gym, we're better than you.
Is that
We know it.
Is that The Simpsons?
That's dodgeball.
Oh, all right. What am I thinking of? That's Hank Scorpio. What does he work for?
Miyamoto Musashi
Okay.
used to bathe in baths of
Funny
carnitine.
that Musashi actually has something.
If you can find the word carnitine,
Say
in the book,
about
I
us
swear
today.
to God, I'll read it.
He'll find it.
Okay.
He'll insert it somewhere.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. Do not acknowledge the possibility that the enemy is stronger than you are. Do not accept the possibility that the enemy is smarter than you are in any way whatsoever. If you are the way of the warrior, you are aware of the way of the warrior.
You could not have picked something further away from the. Let
Well-
me see
well,
if I
what-
can.
what I'm
find
trying to
it.
say-
You go.
What
you
I'm trying to say is, we're talking about carnitine. It's not just for super athletes; it's for everybody, right?
No,
Do not accept that somebody's stronger than you or smarter than you,
you're
because
reaching. Wait, hold on. Are these?
Look, carnitine's one of those ingredients. Is it essential, super essential to perform? Maybe not. Is it going to give you a tiny little slight advantage over your competitors? Maybe.
Guess
So
not, bucket
practice is the only way that you'll ever come to understand the way of the warrior, what it's about. Constant striving for perfection of the self through a chosen art is the only path to enlightenment. Words can only bring you to the foot of the path, and to attain mastery and perfection, you must constantly use carnitine.
Let's see if I
That's
can.
what it
Practice.
says. It's
We're
what it
talking about
says.
Rubbish. You guys.
The whole episode would
I
just
don't
be
even know
you
what
trying to
I'm
find
about.
something relevant to carnitine.
I've never even actually.
Anyway,
looked at this
really good
before.
ingredient.
Yeah.
Widely used throughout sports nutrition, primarily attached to fat loss, but it has much wider benefits, especially for sports performance,
And energy.
energy
I've got a-
production.
I've got a better one.
Oh, here we go.
It's titled "The Stupidity of Fancy Footwork," and it starts, "Do not attempt to be clever with your feet."
Is that what it says?
What you say about Muhammad Ali?
Felt like a butterfly bitch.
And with that,
Another podcast brought to you by Musashi Energy.
Musashi out. Sting like a bee.
carnitine out.